Feed Yard's name is Will Feed Incorporated. We're located right off of Highway 30 in between Cozad and Gothenburg. My husband grew up in Cozad, Nebraska. His grandfather moved there in the 1950s. We've been in the alfalfa manufacturing business since that time, and we went into the feed yard business in the early 1970s. I grew up in West Palm Beach, Florida, attended Dartmouth College in New Hampshire, and I met my husband at Dartmouth. After our years at Dartmouth, he decided he was ready to move back to Nebraska, and I'd always wanted to live in the country, so I volunteered to come along with him. I was a consumer for many years before I was a producer. I grew up a city kid. I kind of knew where my food came from, but I was a consumer. I didn't understand animal agriculture. And so I tend to have a different mind frame when I look at things. All the decisions that I make in the feed yard really are based on the end product, the beef that we're harvesting and feeding my family, all the families in Nebraska, the families in the United States, the families all across the world with. And so I think that has pushed me toward embracing beef quality assurance. We feed cattle grain and forage. We feed wet distillers grains, which is a byproduct coming out of ethanol plants. It comes from corn. We also feed rolled corn. We feed ground up alfalfa. We feed ground up corn stalks. And we feed a dry finisher pellet, which has vitamins and minerals that the cattle need in order to stay healthy. We feed all of our animals twice a day at the feed yard. We read bunks, so we look at bunks in the morning at 7 o'clock. The feed trucks are running by 8. Everybody's had breakfast by 10:30. We go back through and feed them between 2 and 5 in the afternoon for the second go round. We've had several really bad blizzards in this area, and we get out to the feed yard and we feed the cattle and we worry about our families later. We take a tremendous personal responsibility in caring for the animals that we have, and many times we're placing them above ourselves and our families in order to fulfill that responsibility. One of the things that was paramount in our minds when we were trying to decide if we wanted to move back to Nebraska and what we wanted to do was we wanted to live in a place where it was a good place to raise a family. And we wanted our children to know where their food came from, and we wanted our children to know what we did every day. And I think we're getting that done. They know what their parents do for a living, they understand it, they know where their food is coming from, and one of the things that I'd really like for my kids to grow up with is the personal responsibility that I talked about earlier. And we just have a personal responsibility to care for animals and to care for the earth that we live on. And I think that we're showing our kids every day what that means, and to both Matt and I, that's been very important.